Okay, let's hit the round table again, but let's talk about this. The real world mistakes. And just if we summarize the last conversation, the last rotation, you know, a financial model equals decision making. The better the model, the better you can make decisions. And you're kind of doing that every single day. It's like your heads up display, in your car for your business. Now, real world mistakes. What do bad models get wrong? Or what creates a bad model? Like, how do people, how do owners or founders or CFOs, when trying to architect something like this, what are they normally getting wrong that creates issues for them? And then when building a financial model.
I think that a lack of understanding of marketing is what really prevents a business from growing. It's the most uncomfortable thing to say because it's just like, you're going to invest a bunch of money into a project and then, it's the big grand opening day and then nobody shows up to the door.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
you and Jed are on the same page. He's actually in the chat speaking your language.
I think it's the most painful part about starting a business because this is where you're gonna validate your business model. You're gonna test it against the real world, and it'll also help you understand how much you need to start your business and fund your business. You can't make something out of nothing. You need some startup capital to really operate a business in a way where you can eventually, let's say within a year or two, uh, replace your ordinary income with the income from the business. And one of the questions in the chat was about marketing and sales. And that's something that even if you have some understanding of the addressable market that you're dealing with, we run into this all the time. But what we do is we budget a allocation of how much cash we have. Let's say we've got a loan from the bank to start a business. We'll do A/B testing for certain markets based on the niche group that we're trying to show our product in front of and say, hey, we can help you with this problem, right? Because we're all helping each other. And ultimately budgeting how much you need to test and then how much you need to spend to start ramping things up with different platforms. The right person in that area should also be able to consult with you on that. But that's one of the key uses for a financial model. Oh, and what we do, because we have a pretty large portfolio, um, and we have an advertising company ourselves. So what we do is we would allocate as an investor, right? Like, so let's say I'm going to write a $250,000 check to start a business to take 20% of their equity or whatever. I'll tell them put 20 grand into testing out the market first. And if the market doesn't like your creatives, then we're delaying everything. And, I want my money back if there's nothing there.
Hmm.
Sometimes before even starting a business, we'll just start running ads on the business to see if anyone likes it. Like it doesn't have to convert or anything, but if people are clicking on your
Phone's
website,
not ringing.
yeah, like if it's not working, then it's not working. So just from that standpoint, I also think people really overlook their personal goals. Like I'm in a hotel room that goes for like $900 a night, and it's because I financially model my personal life too. And I'm able to spend on myself, and I know how much I can pay myself for my business when I have a good year or a bad year because I built out a model that lets me sleep at night, literally and metaphorically. So I think that knowing why you're doing it in the first place, like if I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, I know I could be a great teammate for somebody that is an entrepreneur. But like, why am I the one running the business? Like, what's driving me? And I think that that's kind of what Asen said earlier. Like, what's your why about it? When we say assumptions, I think that it really means what are we believing our performance is going to do to drive the business forward based on our goals. So you either are growing for cash flow, you're growing for an exit, or you're growing to make an acquisition. For us, what we do is we actually break down each line item in our P&L statement, and we actually reframe the way we do our P&L statements, but we break everything down into 2 or 3 KPIs. So the relationship between a COO and a CFO becomes hey, these are all the drivers. We're having conversations. I'm monitoring what's going on in the business at the
Hmm.
API level. And the CFO needs to understand how that works when it comes to real-time capital raising, debt raising, strategic partnerships, or making policies on free cash flow. I think that whenever you're in like this kind of destabilized position in turnarounds, it's very common to say like, okay, let's just slash all expenses and, raise prices and just hope for the best. But by looking at every driver in the business from a KPI standpoint of what actually moves things forward, and then confirming that with your financial statements in the past and what you expect in the future, will give you a lot more control in the business and make you more confident.
Actually taking notes on something, you gave me an idea.
I just shared a video that I actually made because a lot of founders have come to me and asked me similar questions. And I was like, okay, I'll make a YouTube video on it. But fundamentally, the business model, and I don't think anyone touched on this, needs to reflect the competitive advantage that you're bringing to the market and the thesis that you have.
Let me ask you a question. Have you
Oh,
ever
sorry, that's
seen
you.
an entrepreneur?
You you'll have a like for example, if you're dealing with large volumes and you're doing economies of scale, then you're competing on efficiency, right? If that's your only way to be competitive, then you have to be the fastest or exit the market. I like software because there's intellectual property and expertise that other people just can't copy, and it gives us a competitive advantage. And maybe there's some knowledge that we have in the industry that other people just don't. Like it could be in marketing, it can be in not advertising, it'd be like Tony's Crystal Onyx data management company. NASA was spending 12 years trying to figure out how to do something that Tony could do in 4 hours. That's a competitive advantage. So whenever we build a financial model, and this actually goes back to Chris's problem with pricing, we got to ask ourselves, what is the competitive advantage that gives us pricing power and can also structure other products and services in our offer? So that I would as succinctly as possible answer it that way.
Yeah, that's great.